see you guys in the dark.
Back before MySpace and Facebook, I used an ancient social media site. I'm omitting the name for my own reasons. It was pretty basic from what I remember, but then again, this was like the early 2000s, so I don't remember much of it. You had your friends. As far as I remember, you could post random things, upload pictures, and chat with people. There was a darker portion of this site as well, but I typically stayed away from that, and mostly chatted with people I knew. It was the summer before I started 10th grade. I was 15. I feel age is important to this story. I met a guy on this site. An instant crush was formed, as it usually does when you are a hormonal teen. I sent him a friend request, and from that moment on, we talked daily. He told me he was about 18, and given that I was only about 4-ish months away from my 16th birthday, it wasn't that big of a deal. Anyways, his name was Keith. And because it was the summer, and I had nothing to do during the day or night, because I lacked friends close in my real world, we would talk either through chat or on the phone. One day during one of our phone conversations, probably about 3 months in, he drops the bomb that he's moving to my state and wants to meet up with me. Well, of course, I was excited about this because my crush is moving closer to me. I failed to see the red flag in all of this. I asked him why he moved here, and how was it even possible. He told me that a family member needed help after a divorce. He was moving to help them. I took it at face value, but it was convenient that he had family here. He came to my 16th birthday party. We laughed, watched horror movies, even kissed. I was in heaven. Dating him became hard because my dad disagreed with it, mostly because of the age difference, but again, he had told me he was 18. I only saw a 2-year gap, so I didn't see the problem. The issue also could have been from the fact that I had a very specific taste in guys when I was younger. I liked the ripped up jeans, jackets, tattoos, long hair metal guys. A few months after he moved here, I moved in with my mom where dating him became easier. I would go to his house almost every weekend. My mom would take me, or his family member would come pick me up. Honestly, he had access to me at pretty much any time he wanted. On more than one occasion, tried to get me to sneak out of my house. For obvious reasons, I won't go into detail about our hang-ups. However, about 6 months before my 17th birthday, he seemed to disappear a lot. I noticed it earlier on in our relationship, but I never really thought that much about it. He would just disappear for days with no contact, and come back with no explanation. I ignored it because I was just happy to finally be in the I have a boyfriend club. Even though we hadn't talked, he would know I had been talking to, or I was hanging out with, or what I had been doing while he wasn't returning my phone calls. This was before cell phone GPS was so popular, even before we started hanging out. He would always know who I was talking to, even if it was just online. I have never been overly clingy, so I don't expect an immediate response to my emails, or calls, or anything like that. Eventually, he had disappeared for the 100th time, and I hadn't spoken to him in probably 2 weeks. I called all the numbers he had given me, sent a few emails, but still hadn't gotten a response. I was pretty fed up with this. I sent a breakup email. I had even called his family member who had told me he hadn't seen him in a few weeks. A month later, I started dating someone new for 5 months and was completely and emotionally destroyed after it ended. So here I am, 17, living with my dad again, done with dudes, destroyed and back to my other ways, and concealing with the pending court class due to more stupidity on my part, when I get an unexpected email out of the blue. Keith emailed me and asked to see me, so I agreed. Stupid, but honestly, I was broken. We met up and started dating again. He told me about how he had started doing drugs after our breakup, and he shouldn't have kept disappearing. It was a sob story I completely fell for. It didn't last long for a few reasons. I didn't care about being someone else's version of perfect, so I voiced my opinion quite frequently, and was generally closed off because I didn't want to get hurt. I was seeing a lot of holes in his story. We argued when I disagreed with him on something. He never called them arguments, he called them discussions. He told me he wished he had gotten me pregnant when I was 16, because we wouldn't have broken up the first time. He told me this while we were on a date. Good thing I did one thing smart and got on birth control only a couple of months after he moved here. He lied about his age. He stalked me frequently. To elaborate on the age factor, we went to my dad's house for dinner one night, and my dad asked how old he was. He told my dad he was 22. I was so confused because he told me he had just turned 18 4 months ago before my 16th birthday. So, really, if it was that case at most, he should have only been 20 since his birthday was before mine. So really, if that was the case at most, he should have only been 20 since his birthday was just before mine. He also refused to tell me his birthday when he realized his mistake. When we started talking online, he made it a point to locate my friends, which were very few, and became friends with them on this site, including a girl that I went to school with and her boyfriend. The few friends that I had would feed him information about me, either intentionally or unintentionally. I honestly will never know, as I lost contact with all of them by choice years ago. Even if I hung out with someone new, he would know them by name and would ask about them when we would talk. It was really weird. After our falling out the second time, his family member slowly drove by my house when I was getting into my car. It was about a month after we broke up. When I noticed him, he sped off. My theory on this is, this person wasn't his family member. It was some random friend keeping up with me and helping him get to me. Not sure why. I don't know what he stood to gain from this, but I don't think they were related. In my gut, it feels like he provided a place for Keith to live, and Keith may have owed this person money, and all the disappearances may have been a result of their fighting over that, or even other things as well. The last part is just my assumption. There is more to this, but is already way too long, so I will leave it here. Anyways, Keith, it has been quite a few years, but let's not ever meet again. A few months ago, my sister started talking to this boy online named Ben. The two of them had a lot in common, and were only about a year apart in terms of their ages. We didn't think anything of it at first, because it's normal to have online friends these days. My sister is really introverted, so it was nice to hear that she had someone she could chat to. From what I understand, Ben was also there for her emotionally too. If that makes any sense at all. My sister became quite attached to him. Ben also introduced her to a few of his friends as well. They all seemed like they were typically edgy teenagers, the kind that post selfies with emo song lyrics and stuff like that. Ben seemed like a normal, caring friend, and even messaged me a couple of times when he was concerned about my sister being upset. He seemed genuine, and I was happy my sister had someone like this. One day, my sister asked my mom if she could meet up with Ben in the city. He lived in another state, and had organized to spend a week in our state with his aunt, so it seemed like the perfect opportunity for the two of them to meet up. They arranged a date and time to meet in the city, and my mom and I accompanied her. When that day came through, he didn't even show up. He made some excuse that his aunt wasn't driving him there, and we figured she was probably concerned about Ben meeting someone he only knew over the internet. I'll admit, I did have a really bad feeling about their meetup while we waited for Ben to show, but I stupidly ignored it. My sister, understandably, was quite upset that he hadn't shown up. Ben messaged me to apologize for us for having to run around after him. He explained his aunt can be unreasonable at times. At that moment, I genuinely believed he was a decent person and wasn't lying about this situation. A couple months passed, just the two of them chatting away like normal. At some point, my mom gets the idea that she and my sister could fly to his state and meet him. Ben liked that idea, and so they ordered the flight tickets. One day, out of the blue, my sister burst into my room, clearly frightened. She told me to block Ben and the two friends he'd introduced her to earlier. When I asked why, she explained to me that Ben had been a cover-up identity for a person that had previously threatened her using another account. All the pictures he posted were from someone else's account, His 2 friends were all fake accounts run by him to keep up the illusion. The person, after being confronted by my sister, admitted they were keeping tabs on my sister. They had been chatting for months. She had likely told him some personal things too. The flights were immediately canceled after my mom found out, and we were all spooked about the whole thing. We wouldn't even tell the police because my sister was a dingus and didn't keep a copy of the messages the accountant sent her. The account was taken down after we informed the guy whose pictures were stolen about the incident. So, to whoever this person is, let's never cross paths ever again. A little over 10 years ago, I met a woman online. Finding common interest, yet great distance, made a lot of daily email. Being the typical dumb guy, I was flattered when she offered to travel cross-country to visit, at her own expense, of course. She was younger than I, and my fear of my own advancing years and potential solitude seemed at a reprieve. Skipping through many chapters, she moved in with me after a year's time. In the beginning, everything was fantastic. There was always something not quite right with her. I found myself making excuses more frequently. I became more secluded and withdrawn from my family to please her. She had weird mood swings. I found out more of her history. She had psychiatric care before and had been on medication for years, then stopped taking it after telling me in a big confession. Each day getting progressively worse over time. Severe bipolar manic depressive. I have plenty of doctors of my own after a car crash in the late 90s. One is a pain clinic. My job has a special license, and to keep it, I need a clean record. And knowing this, I got blackmailed on a daily basis to get pain medication from me with various threats that would send me to jail. After all, the guy is always the evil abuser, and the woman is always the victim, despite reality in the last year of it all. We both went to jail twice as I got attacked when I said no. The gory details filled a phone book-sized volume in small print. She is gone now, for good, back to where she came from, and charges dropped on both parties. I never could get her to just go to a doctor of her own. People will second-guess me and judge me. My own parents still do. Asked why I was so stupid to stay with her for so long. How could I put up with it? I almost lost everything I had. Even the thought of hurting myself a few points. Amazing what the mind can put up with, and what extremes you are willing to go to when you keep justifying the motives. It gets more and more insane until you do not recognize yourself after a while. Although I am deeply saddened over the reported state of her continued, untreated mental condition, other than health, I am very happy in general about life itself, with no intent of self-harm or others. I just had a surgery called a spinal fusion. After being hit over the head with a frying pan lid, both arms were getting numb. This is now better, so it is all looking up from here. I have heard love described one time as putting up with someone else's crap, even to the point that it almost hurts you. If you meet someone online, just leave it like that, please.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos, and become a stalker of the night, and I'll see you next time.